Hello, friends of Bible Today. Today, we're diving into one of the most important texts in the New Testament, the first chapter of the Gospel of Matthew. At first glance, it might seem like just a long list of names, but this genealogy tells an incredible story about the roots of Jesus Christ and God's perfect plan throughout the generations. Let's discover together what this passage has to teach us today. The genealogy of Jesus. Matthew begins his gospel in a way that immediately captured the attention of the Jews of that time, with a genealogy. To understand its importance, we must remember that for the Jews, genealogies were essential to establish identity and inheritance. This genealogy is structured in 3 groups of 14 generations. From Abraham to David, from David to the exile in Babylon, from the exile to the birth of Jesus. It's not just a list of names, but a map of Israel's history pointing directly to Jesus as the fulfillment of the promises made to Abraham and David. Surprising names. One fascinating detail in this genealogy is the inclusion of 5 women: Tamar, Rahab, Ruth, the wife of Uriah, Bathsheba, and Mary. This was extremely unusual in Jewish genealogies. Even more surprising is the fact that Tamar pretended to be a prostitute and had children with her father-in-law, Judah. Rahab was a prostitute from Jericho. Ruth was a foreigner, a Moabite. Bathsheba committed adultery with David, and Mary conceived by the Holy Spirit and faced suspicion regarding her pregnancy. The presence of these women shows us that God uses imperfect people in His perfect plan. God's grace transcends cultural, ethnic, and gender barriers. The plan of salvation has always included all nations. The message for today. What does this genealogy mean for us today? 3 important lessons. First, it shows that God is faithful to His promises. From Abraham to Jesus, through kings and common people, God was working out His plan of redemption. Second, it reveals that God uses imperfect people. This list includes adulterers, murderers, deceivers, and foreigners. If God could use these people in His story of redemption, He can use you and me too. Third, it establishes Jesus as the legitimate promised Messiah. Matthew was showing his Jewish readers that Jesus was not just any teacher or prophet, but the fulfillment of centuries of expectation. The birth of Jesus. After the genealogy, Matthew recounts the miracle of Jesus' birth. Mary becomes pregnant by the power of the Holy Spirit while still betrothed to Joseph. Joseph, described as a righteous man, planned to quietly break the engagement so as not to expose Mary to public shame. But an angel appears to him in a dream and reveals the divine plan. Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to take Mary home as your wife, because what is conceived in her is from the Holy Spirit. She will give birth to a son, and you are to give him the name Jesus, because he will save his people from their sins. Matthew 1:20-21. The name Jesus means the Lord saves, a name that reveals His mission of salvation. Matthew also points out that all of this happened to fulfill Isaiah's prophecy about the virgin giving birth. Matthew 1 is not just an introduction to the gospel. It is a powerful declaration about who Jesus is: the promised Messiah, born of a virgin, descendant of David and Abraham, yet also connected to ordinary and imperfect people. This chapter reminds us that the story of Jesus is the story of God's faithfulness, the expansion of His grace beyond boundaries, and His ability to transform ordinary lives into instruments of His divine purpose. If this video was a blessing to you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Bible Today channel. Leave a comment telling us which Bible passage you'd like us to explore in the next video. Until next time, and may God bless your journey in His Word.